Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are digging into a fascinating model that tries to put some hard numbers on the future of autonomous ride-hailing, and specifically, what Tesla's robotaxi network could look like. Let's just jump right in with a huge number, $488 billion. According to this analysis, that's the potential annual revenue from Tesla's autonomous network, all by the year 2039. And just to be super clear here, this is not money from selling cars. Nope. This is all about the software platform, the network that lets a car drive itself, go out and pick people up, and earn money for its owner while they're doing, well, anything else. Okay, so a number that big, you've got to ask, how on earth do they get there, right? How can you possibly predict something so game-changing? Well, that's exactly what we're going to unpack. Let's spin into it. So this model isn't just wishful thinking. It's actually built on two really powerful core ideas that have a proven track record of completely upending industries. First up is something called technology convergence. This isn't about one single eureka moment. It's more like a perfect storm. You have several different technologies, in this case batteries, computer chips, and AI, all hitting their stride and accelerating at the exact same time. And the second engine here is Wright's law. Now, you've probably heard of Moore's law for computers. Well, you can think of this as its cousin for manufacturing. It's a concept from the 1930s that basically says the more you make of something, the cheaper and cheaper it gets to produce each one. And this right here is a perfect picture of that law in action. Just look at how the cost of lithium-ion batteries has absolutely fallen off a cliff as we've made more and more of them. This isn't just a line on a graph. This dramatic cost down is the economic key that unlocks this entire future. It's what makes a fleet of millions of robotaxis not just possible, but actually profitable. Okay, so we've got these powerful cost trends pushing everything in the right direction. But how do you actually turn that into a real forecast of the market? Let's take a look under the hood of the model. So the researchers used a really cool technique called a Monte Carlo simulation. Instead of just making one single bet on what the future looks like, which, let's be honest, is almost always wrong, this method lets you run the future thousands of times on a computer to see the whole range of what's most likely to happen. It's basically a three-step dance. First, you define all your variables. Things like vehicle production, how many people will actually join the network, how long the cars last, and you give each one a range of possibilities, not just a single number. Then, you just hit go and let the computer run the scenario thousands of times. Finally, you look at all those different results to get a clear picture of the average, the best case, and the worst case outcomes. It's a really smart way to handle a future that is, super uncertain. So, after running the future thousands and thousands of times, what did the computer spit out? Well, this is where it gets really, really interesting, and you start to see the shape of a whole new economy. First things first, usage. What you're looking at here is the adoption curve, measured in miles traveled on the network. You can see it's a classic S-curve. It starts out a little slow, and then, boom, it just takes off, climbing to over 1.7 trillion miles a year in the average case. This curve is the foundation for everything else. And all those miles, well, they add up to a whole lot of money. As the miles traveled go up, the revenue for the platform goes right up with it, eventually getting us to that massive $500 billion number we started with. But look, this isn't just about the company's revenue. This is the part that could change things for a regular car owner. The model projects that the average person who puts their car on the network could make over $14,000 a year. Think about that. Your car, which is usually just a money pit, suddenly becomes an asset that generates cash for you. And it's not all about the money either. The environmental impact is, well, it's huge. Just look at this comparison. This is total life cycle emissions from the factory to the scrapyard. A standard gas car is way up here, around 460 grams of CO2 per mile. A solar-charged EV on the network? It's way, way down here at just 30. It's not even in the same league. So you can see how this all starts to ripple out. This is about so much more than just cars or money. If this model is even close to being right, it could fundamentally change how our cities look and how we live our lives. 94%, according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. That's how many serious car crashes are caused by us, by human error. And that is the exact problem autonomous technology is designed to solve. We're talking about the potential to save millions of lives. Now think about this number, 8. In the US, for every single car, there are, on average, 8 parking spaces. Just let that sink in. So much of our valuable city real estate is just dedicated to storing metal boxes that aren't even moving most of the time. And that really brings us to the final big idea to leave you with. A world with a robotaxi network means we'd need way fewer cars, because each one would be used constantly instead of sitting idle. So the biggest question this model raises isn't just about technology, it's about opportunity. What could we do with all that space we get back? More parks, more housing? What could our cities look like if we started designing them for people instead of for parking spots?